And welcome back to the Danny Mac podcast on the Bet Rivers Podcast Network. A week ago today, we all learned of the passing of Dick Butkus, who was 80 years old. I was in my first year doing Chicago radio in 85. It was a goddamn good time to be a rookie on the Bears flagship, WGN Radio. The station wasn't real cool, but the 85 Bears were, and Dick Butkus was the analyst for those teams. I joked with Tom Thayer last week. Butkus used to get paid by the grunt. And Jim McMahon, the legendary Bears quarterback, was among the former Bears first to get out on social media to comment on Dick Butkus and his life. And Jimmy Mack, I couldn't help but think when I saw your tweet, God, it'd be good to get you on the show. And here we are a week later. Thanks for the time. Did you get to know Butkus a little bit through the years?
Yeah, I got to know Dick quite a bit over the years, and he's another one I would like to play with. I mean, he played the game the way it's supposed to be played. He was a tough, hard-nosed player, and a good guy to be around as well.
I don't remember the best part of his career. He was kind of a mascot in pads, really, when I got to him. I was born in 61, but you could tell from NFL Films video just how tough he was. Who was the toughest guy on your mid 80s Bears? Just not necessarily the best player, but who was the toughest son of a bitch on those teams?
I tell you what, McMichael always comes to mind. I mean, he came to work every day, and he gave it his all every day, and he definitely made our guys better by putting them through the ringer every day.
McMichael was the guy I thought of as well. He scared the hell out of me. It took me a good couple of years before I had the courage to stick a microphone in front of him. And when we see him now, it's just a reminder, God, Father Time is unbeaten. And I know you've been battling some health issues too. You mentioned briefly before we got started here, you haven't been able to golf much. What's up with your health? Because Bears fans often ask me, what's going on with Jim McMahon?
Well, I've been dealing with 2 years with this foot. I had a simple surgery 2 years ago. I played on a broken ankle for years. They kept telling me it wasn't broke, and I got to the point I couldn't walk. So I got it fixed, and 4 or 5 days after the first surgery, my foot exploded from an infection. Had to have 2 more emergency surgeries. They were talking about cutting my leg off. They saved the leg, but it's still not working. It hasn't moved for 2 years, so it's been pretty rough. Hopefully we'll get this thing straightened out so I can get back on the course.
That sounds brutal. How are you dealing with not being able to do what you want to do emotionally?
Yeah, it's frustrating as hell, especially when you got to get up to go to the restroom. You got to get on your scooter or a crutch. Sometimes I forget and stand on my foot, and then I go down. So it's been very frustrating. Like I said, it was the easiest surgery I've ever had, and it turned out to be the worst thing I've ever done. So hopefully this thing will straighten up here soon.
I want to talk with you about these Bears who have breathed some life back into their season after last week's win against the Washington Commanders. God, I still have to stop and think about who they are. They're always the Redskins to me, but they beat Rivera's Commanders last week and hang on to do so, and suddenly most of Chicago is back on the Justin Fields bandwagon. A lot of people here just really forgetting all about the first 4 games of the season and all of the shit they said about the quarterback leading up to that game. Has he made a believer of you, or do you need to see more?
Well, I haven't seen anything. I don't watch anymore. I don't really care. I've been out 27 years now, so it's football's the last thing on my mind. I don't really watch. I don't watch it at all. I mean, I'll check scores every now and then to see how my friends are doing that are still coaching. But yeah, I just can't sit and watch it. I love playing the game, but I'm not a fan of it.
I'm not too surprised to hear that. You never did really enjoy talking much about football. Over the years, times I've had good conversations, you would talk golf or hockey or things we don't have to mention here, but was it just your aptitude for it that put you in that position, that would be what you do professionally, not necessarily love? What was your first love? What would you have preferred to do?
I would have rather played baseball. That was
Yeah.
always my first love. That's what I wanted to do. I was drafted out of high school, but my dad said, "No, you're going to college," and so that's how it ended up. I wanted to play baseball in college as well, which I did. I played my freshman year, about 8 games, but I couldn't get out of spring football practice. So I'd have to play a game of a doubleheader and then run down this big hill, change uniforms, go to football practice. And throwing the ball from the outfield is a lot different than throwing it from the pocket. So I was having some arm problems then, and I had to make a decision. And since football was my scholarship, I just decided to stick with that.
While the foot is the issue now, how is your shoulder? I imagine you've had a few shoulder procedures over the years. Am I right?
Oh yeah, I've had this shoulder. Last time I had it done was probably 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Had a bunch of bone spurs taken out. It's starting to bother me again, so I definitely probably need a shoulder replacement. But after this last surgery, I don't want to have to deal with any more operating rooms.
Let's talk a little bit about family life. I had the chance to meet your son Sean a few years ago. That SOB can hit a golf ball about 330 yards, and I mean it's consistent, and he hits it on the fairway. And it's kind of funny that he remembers his dad, the celebrity, but remembers so little about your career. And with you not being the biggest football fan, I imagine he's had to pull sentences out of your mouth to talk about what it was like to be a part of that 85 team and that era.
Well, he was only, Sean was born in 84, so December of 84. So he doesn't remember. Most of my kids, or in fact, all of my kids are Packer fans because that's all they remember is me with Green Bay. Sean was only a year old. My daughter was a year and a half. The other two weren't even born yet. So all they remember is the Packer days. But yeah, he's definitely a hell of a golfer. He works for Wilson Golf. And actually, my youngest son is working there as well in the golf division. So yeah, they can play, and I look forward to. I'm taking them over one of these days to get over to Ireland and Scotland to play those courses with my sons and try to make some memories there.
I was shocked he said no thanks when I passed him a joint. He's not a smoker. It's like I thought the bud doesn't fall far from the seed, as I like to say about my millennial sons. But now with Sean, he's not like Daddy.
No, no, my sons are not like the dad. They're actually they're good kids, and they're both parents now. So actually, all my kids have kids themselves. I've got 6 grandkids. So yeah, they turned out to be pretty good.
And you could turn out to be pretty good as a weed smoker too. And I think you became a card carrying member of the club in '73, if I remember right. It's
Yeah.
been a few years since we talked about that. I'm a class of '77 ganjist. What are you doing right now with cannabis in Illinois, and how cool is it to arrive at this era when it's not only been decriminalized, it's recreational legal in many states?
Well, I'm glad I got a call from Kyle Turley, another ex-ball player, a couple years ago. He had this idea of starting this company with the idea that we want to help people. We want to get them off the opioids. We got this. That's why he named it Revenant after the movie. Uh, you know, it actually saved our lives, got us off the opioids. The things that actually are addictive and kill you, whereas cannabis has never killed anybody. We have a cannabinoid system every living thing does in their bodies. We're supposed to be using this plant. It's been demonized for so many years and lied about. Our government, because they can't patent it, can't make money on it. So, they try to demonize it and criminalize it. So now people are starting to wake up and realize, hey, the government does lie to us about pretty much everything. And this plant it's not a drug, it's a medicinal herb. It's only drugs when man puts his hands on it and starts putting chemicals in it, and that's how you get addicted. You'd never be addicted to cocaine if you just ate coca leaves. It's all the damn chemicals that they put in it. So yeah, this is something that people are opening their eyes to, especially the older population. They're tired of all the pills that they've taken all these years, and they're a big part of our boom right now is in the industry is the older people.
Gummies have never worked for me. Edibles don't work for me. I don't know if you're a regular smoker, it's hard to dose. I either don't get the plane in the air or I'm on the couch for 8 hours and not functional. Have you found a middle ground?
Well, the gummies, they're getting a lot better. The early gummies, they would just sit in a vat, and a lot of them would collect all the THC. Some wouldn't collect any. They figured it out now to keep the vat moving, to keep everything, everything is more, how do you say, in tune with with what it says on the package. The gummies to me too. It takes quite a bit. Actually had two gummies the other night. They're 100 milligrams a piece. I had two for dinner. I was able to drive home. I mean, it wasn't that it doesn't affect me that much. It helps me sleep more than anything. But yeah, I'd much rather smoke it.
Birds of a feather. Jim, would you be more interested in the Bears and watching the NFL today if the game didn't leave you with such a bad taste in your mouth the way it was run administratively, particularly with the team that drafted you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, hell, I had a great time in my career. I got to play 15 years, 7 different teams, played with a lot of great players, had a lot of good coaches, had a good time. But yeah, I'm just not. When it's over, it's over. It's not something I want to hang on to. I enjoyed my career. I had great success, and there's a lot more life after football. You only got to play 10, 12 years if you're lucky. And I was able to play 15, and now, like I said, I've been out 27. I still hopefully got a few more years left. So I'm enjoying life, and I just want my kids to, grow up happy and healthy, and my grandkids as well.
Some guys don't know what to do after the crowd stops cheering. I'm glad you got on with it. I'm glad you're happy without it, but I just can't help but wonder if some of the experiences being with Team McCaskey and what you guys did in particular, being asked to take shots to suit up. We talk about opioids, and you think about the hideous nature of the CBA all these years. They pass out Vicodin like breath mints in the locker room. Yet if a guy tests hot for weed, he's in trouble. Finally, these things are changing. I just can't help but think that the Bears have a lot to do with not just you, but with several guys from that era who just don't have it in them to say, "Yeah, go Bears." They just not cut that way anymore.
Well, I think there was a lot of bad blood, with our our owners at the time. They'd always say, "Well, prove to us that you're worth your money." So we go out and win, and then guys want to raise, and they don't want to give it to them. So I don't know what their thinking is. I just remember the one meeting I had with Mike McCaskey. It was early on when he first got there, and he told me that they don't really care if they win every year. As long as their stands are full, they're happy. And that's not something you want to say to a player because we only have so many years to play. We want to be able to win. And I think we could have won a lot more had we had the help from the front office.
What in particular could they have done differently?
Well, paid the guys, that we needed. We had Todd Bell and Al Harris sit out in 1985, and they were two of our crucial players on defense, and unfortunately they didn't get a ring. They were able to come back and play for us the following year, but it's tough when you have that kind of animosity towards owners and then have to come in and try to play your best with your teammates.
The evil soldier for Team McCaskey, I always felt, has been Ted Phillips, and it's my understanding his fingerprints are still on every big decision that's made. I'm hoping that's wrong because I've never met a guy who doesn't make me want to count every finger after a handshake more than Ted Phillips.
Well, I didn't have to deal with him a whole lot. Back then it was Jerry Venisi and Jim Finks. I think Ted was there a couple of years, my last year or two there. So I don't know. I don't really know him all that well and how he operates. So yeah, I'm glad I'm out of that rat race.
Yeah. Last thing I want to ask you about, when I have younger producers over the years who don't remember your group, but were kids with Jordan posters on the walls in the 90s, they say, how in the world could the 85 Bears have been bigger than this? And my response always has been genuine, and I believe it's the truth. It's that you guys were a part of Chicago. You were accessible. You went out. You did radio shows. You made yourself available to the fans, and you were the Rolling Stones in shoulder pads. I don't think that's exaggerating it. We're the Bulls to a very large degree. And bless him for getting there, but Jordan wanted to be a global star. Jordan didn't care how big he was in Chicago. He wanted the world. Is that accurate?
Well, he achieved it. Well, Chicago's always been a bear town. It was great for the Bulls to win those 6 championships, and everybody was excited. But they'd much rather see the Bears win on Sunday than the Bulls win a championship.
So it's 200 milligrams for dinner for the punky QB, Jim McMahon. Thank you, Randy Merkin, for getting us hooked up with the former Chicago Bear, who sometimes enjoys what he sees on Sunday. Maybe it was during the Mitch Trubisky era when there was a little playoff pop when I saw McMahon interviewed, enthusiastic about the Bears' current team, but it's faded these last couple of years, obviously, as it would when you can't get out of bed in the morning without wheeling your way to the bathroom. I want to remind you to get extra value this football season with Bet Rivers Squares. Win up to $10,000 in bonus money. Bet $10 in same-game parlays with the Squares icon to earn a square. The Bears are getting points at Soldier Field against the Vikings Sunday. And if you know the Minnesota story, you know it's been one of despair this season. They thought they could live without Dalvin Cook, and I don't know how much of a difference he would have made on this 1-4 Minnesota outfit, but it's been an awful start for the Purple. They are nonetheless favored against the Bears this coming Sunday. I've seen 3.5. It's been toggling between those numbers most of the week. It's been a long time since the Bears have beaten a divisional opponent. Is it this weekend? I think there's a real good chance of it. Hey, man, I'm not telling what you to do with your money, but I'm keeping mine in my pocket on this one. I don't trust either of these teams. I do trust there to be points, but I don't trust it enough. I can't do it in this game. I'm not going anywhere near it, to be totally honest with you. I will have some plays, and as always, I will put them on Twitter on Sunday morning. I had a very light investing weekend this past weekend, and I want to encourage you too to take a look at some of the prop bets on Bet Rivers' site, or if you want to say the app. There are some really attractive bets with the NHL season that is just underway. Connor Bedard should be favored by more than he is to win the Calder Trophy, which is given annually to the NHL's best rookie. He is minus 167. That's a steal. The next guy's 10-1. And I don't even know who the next guy is. He's probably played one NHL game. Some teams haven't even skated yet. We're early in this campaign. But Bedard looks like the shit, man. I mean, he looks terrific. Tremendous hands. Plays at a very high speed. Great feel for the game. Put your money on that and enjoy your NFL weekend. I want to thank Adam Delavitt, who is Baby Capone for Bet Rivers Podcast Network. My producer is Sam Michael. Randy Merkin takes care of all of our guests. Alex Pastor and Troy Mocker take care of research, development, and social media. Have a great week 6.